my favorite movies, starting with every letter of the alphabet, and also my What's Wrong with Christian Movies video. You know I'm a really big MCU fan. I love all of them. I think there's just so much about them that I just love. But when I was doing my list of favorite movies starting with every letter of the alphabet, there were so many movies that I couldn't talk about because maybe I really like the movie, but I like a movie that starts with that letter better, so I couldn't necessarily talk about that. So I decided it would be fun to go through and rank all the movies in a tier list. Just because I happen to really like that format, I think it's super fun. So that's what I'm doing. And I mean it's pretty obvious, like best, great, good, meh, bad, worst. I don't think there are a lot of worst movies. Because most of them are just really good. Except I have heard that Eternals is not a very good movie. I've heard multiple people. It has like, last I checked, has like a 49% Rotten Tomatoes, which is really, really bad anyway, especially for an MCU movie. It's like awful. Anyway, so but we don't want to talk about that. And I do need to make sure you understand. This is just the Infinity Saga because I have not seen Shang-Chi. I did see Black Widow. But that to me feels like it's part of the Infinity Saga, even though it technically isn't, because it happens in this timeline. But I haven't seen Shang-Chi. I haven't seen Falcon the Winter Soldier. I haven't seen WandaVision. I mean, those are shows, but I haven't seen either of those. I've only seen Loki. And I obviously haven't seen Eternals. And I probably won't see it because it sounds like it's not the best, but that's me. Because I'm a college student. I don't want to spend money on a movie I don't really, really, really want to see. Anyway. And also, I am going to be going through this in order of release. I know there's debate about what order we should do them in, but I'm going to do this in release order. Okay, so starting off with the very first film in the MCU, Iron Man. So I don't think this is the best film in the MCU, but it is absolutely one of my favorites. It is really good. It's so amazing. I think it's Tony Stark's origin story is so satisfying. It's so cool. He's just such a cool hero. I love seeing Robert Downey Jr. is amazing. I think the quips, I mean, probably one of my favorite scenes in the MCU is when he's like testing out his suit, I think, and he gets flung into the wall, and then he falls back down, and his machine sprays him off, and then the next cutaway is, all right, if you douse me with water again, I'm not on fire, I'm donating you to City College. Oh my goodness, that made my mom laugh, like, fairly hard, when we were watching that movie, and this is one of the things that won her over. Oh, she's gonna like the Marvel movie. So, Iron Man, you have to go in the great tier. I can't put you in the best tier, but you are right up there. You are amazing. Now I come to the Incredible Hulk. I actually don't mind this movie. It might not be joke like the rest of the movies, but that doesn't bother me. I think part of it might be too, I mean, obviously, I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan. I don't need, like, joke, ha ha, every, like, 10 seconds to enjoy a movie. I prefer the comedy, but the jokes of the other movies, but I don't hate it. I think Liv Tyler is actually pretty good in this role. Granted, she's better as Arwen. Arwen wins pretty much everything. But she's good in the movie. I think the opening title sequence where they tell his origin story is probably one of my favorite opening title sequences in the MCU. It's just really cool. There's so much about it that I like. It's fun. It's not fun. It's interesting. It's different. So I'm going to put it in the good category because it is good. I don't love it, but I don't hate it at all. Iron Man 2. Yeah, you're going in the bad category. I have only actually seen this movie once when I was going through the MCU movies with my mom. I actually said, all you need to know about Black Widow, I mean, not Black Widow, Iron Man 2 is that Black Widow shows up and Rhodey Rhodey becomes War Machine. I mean, that's all you need to know. there's really not that much in there, and I was like, boy, if we watch this one, she might not want to keep going, and I really wanted her to keep watching the MCU movies, so because of that, I said, yeah, we're not going to watch that one, so we skipped it. So yeah, I've only watched it once. I've only watched it once. I don't know if I've ever actually rewatched it. It's just not the most rewatchable movie. I don't like it very much. It's just not my favorite. So next up is Thor. Okay, this movie's kind of interesting to me. I would say of the origin stories, Thor is honestly my least favorite, even which is weird. I think it's honestly because I love Chris Hemsworth's performance. I think Chris Hemsworth is amazing. I think he's funny. I think he's very handsome. I think he has a great voice. But I don't adore him like as much, and I actually like Loki better. I don't like Loki better. I like Tom Hiddleston's performance better than I do Chris Hemsworth's performance, just in general. But a funny story about this. So I had been watching this movie basically 2021 and the end of 2020 was my like time to watch all these movies that I had never seen before. So I was going through the Marvel movies, I was watching Pirates of the Caribbean, I was watching Lord of the Rings, which is funny because like all these genres are like, this should be my genre. Obviously these are like my genres. I love, obviously, because I mean I love the Narnia. Lord of the Rings is better, but I mean, I love National Treasure, kind of that mix of just serious but like intense but also funny, hilarious. It's great. Anyway, that's Marvel movies are great. Anyway, but oh goodness. But anyway, so I was watching it and I was like told Christy, who's in my other videos, that's his wife, I was like, oh, I love Chris Hemsworth. He's great. And she didn't say the words, but her implication was, what is it with you and older guys? Because you're super into Viggo Mortensen, you're into Orlando Bloom. You need to find someone your own age to be attracted to in the Hollywood. She's probably right. It's just funny to me. So I do like Thor. I like it better than The Incredible Hulk just because I think the movie as a whole is better, but they're really good. Now we come to the first Captain America, the first Avenger. Yep, you are one of the best. I actually like this one. This is hard actually for me to decide which one I like better than Captain America or Iron Man. I think I have to say I like Captain America better because Robert Downey Jr. is the best part of this movie. That he's the best part of the movie. He's amazing. Which I love Robert Downey Jr. And I mean I like Gwyneth Paltrow, but everyone else is like, they're good. Captain America, I think I like every single actor that's in this movie, whether it's obviously Chris Evans is the best he's the best. He's probably one of my favorite actors, period, because he's just really good. I love whoever plays Agent Carter. I can't think of her name, but I love her. I love Hugo Weaving as a villain, which I shouldn't, but I do. Oh, I love Hugo Weaving so much. I love Sebastian Stan. I love Tommy Lee Jones. This is another one that, like, I was watching this. This is a MCU. You are so smart, Kevin Feige, or whoever does the casting. Good job getting, like, the generation above these guys to play really good roles. Because we're watching that, and my mom is instantly like, oh, Tommy Lee Jones, I love him. Or, oh, Stanley Tucci. Well, she didn't know Stanley Tucci's name. But she's like, oh, I love all these actors. This is so cool. So I love that movie. I love this movie. It is so good. And again, this is the movie so when my mom and I were going through it, we started in timeline order, which I found out we shouldn't do, but she really liked him. So I have fond memories of watching it with her. And it's so good. It's so well done. I mean, there are some problems with it, but it is so perfect. It's wonderful. So yeah, I mean, it is right next to Iron Man. They're both equally good, and I would say Captain America's origin story is hands down my favorite of all these superheroes. I love the old-fashioned nobility. There's nothing about it that I don't love. Next up is the Avengers. This one is hard because I like it, but I don't adore it. It's not like the best movie ever. And I definitely like Captain America better than this one, so I'm going to put you right behind it, but you are still one of the really good movies, whether it's the quips. I love the jokes. Loki, I think, is actually better as a villain in this movie than he is in the Thor movie. Actually, I don't think I know that he, well, in my opinion, I think that. Does that make sense? There's no wavering there. I definitely like him better in this movie. I think he's just more interesting. I think he just really started to embrace his role. I think Chris Hemsworth is funny, and that's great. You can definitely see his humor more. I think one of my favorite lines in the movie is, talking about, oh, Loki, he killed 50, he's a Prince of Asgard, blah, blah, blah. And of course, said perfectly the way only Chris Hemsworth can say it. And then he's like, he killed 50 people. He's adopted. That's just great. It's so good. There's just so much about it that I love. I love Agent Coulson. I was so sad when he died. I love him. I love all the actors in this movie are fantastic. It's great. I would come to Iron Man 3. I like this one better than the second one, I think. But again, I haven't rewatched either of these movies since the first time I went through. I'm not really a fan of either one, but I think the third one's a little bit better. Thor: The Dark World, pretty much the same. Actually, I like this one less. It is definitely the worst movie in the MCU, in the Infinity Saga. I'll say it that way. Here's the thing about it that kind of annoys me. People compare it to Lord of the Rings in space. I see that, but I don't see that because it's not nearly as complex, and that's what makes Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings is how complex it is anyway. That's an opinion, but I don't like it all. Winter Soldier. Yeah, I absolutely adore this movie. I basically think all of Captain America's movies got better and better. I love it. It is definitely, you are the best of these so far. I love this movie. It is so good. It's so interesting. I love the political thriller aspect. It's kind of like, I'm a really big fan of, like, which again is going to sound so weird because I love Lord of the Rings, but I mean, honestly, like, my favorite parts in the Lord of the Rings, the battles aren't like when there's just all this noise going on and they're having these big epic battles. My favorite parts are like the smaller fights that they have, whether it's, the fight with the Nazgul, blah, 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 blah. So I actually really like how this works out. I love the twists. I just think it's so good. And Black Widow is awesome. And actually, I just think it's just so cool. It's so interesting. And I think one thing that really, like, makes this movie cool is, like, some of the stuff, it's hard to believe something like that actually happening. Like, oh, it's very fantastical. But there's a level, like, Asgard stuff. That's not true at all. There's no way that happened. But, like, you can imagine the plot of Winter Soldier, and I don't want to spoil it, but you can imagine the plot of Winter Soldier actually happening. Like, there being, okay, basically, again, like I said in my Christian movie, What's Wrong With It video, if you haven't seen these movies, just skip forward. See any of these movies, just don't watch this part of the video. You can actually imagine something like this happening in real life. Like, there actually being government scheming and takeovers and worms in the government and stuff. That's just cool, and it's not cool if it happens in real life, but it's interesting. And like the first season of Designated Survivor is probably one of my favorite things. Probably my favorite thing that my family has ever watched together, like as a series. I wish they'd like done just a mini series like they do with like Falcon and the Winter Soldier and WandaVision. Like that would have made a like that format where it's like a 5 or 6 hour movie broken up into episodes, but it's longer than like a 2 or 3 hour movie, if that makes sense. 2 hour movie, whatever. I thought that was just amazing, phenomenal. So, and Winter Soldier isn't like that, but it is like that. It's that kind of concept. It's government. It's really cool. I just think that stuff is interesting. And I'm just getting more and more interested in politics, which sounds so, I don't know. And this is different, but well, that was weird. Sorry, didn't mean to do that. But I really enjoyed that. I dug that, seriously. It was amazing. And I mean, that's like a very common opinion that, Winter Soldier is like one of the best movies in the MCU. Now we come to Ant-Man. Now this might be an extremely unpopular opinion, but I love this movie. I actually put it up above the first Avengers movie, but I can't put it as high as any of the Captain America movies. I love this movie. Granted, I am a fan of the show Friends. I think I've talked about that on this channel before, that I love the show Friends, and Paul Rudd is in the show, and he's easily my favorite love interest. I wish he was around more than he is. So he's so good in this movie. He's so fun. I like the smaller stakes, and Michael Douglas is so good. It's funny. Before we started watching these movies, I had one of the funniest conversations I've ever had with my mom. And I'm 21, so we've had so many conversations. You probably can't imagine this. I was speaking full sentences by the time I was 2, and I pretty much never stopped talking since. So, lots of times to have fun conversations with my mom. This conversation was hilarious. I was telling her about de-aging, and I was like, yeah, they de-aged Michael Douglas for the MCU. She looks at me, says, no, they didn't. And I was like, yeah, they did. No, they didn't. Yeah, they did. Then she's finally like, they must have de-aged him a lot. And I said, yeah, they take a picture or a movie or something of how he looked in whatever era the film is set in, and the scene is set in, and they make him look like that. She's like, wait a second, they do it in the computer? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, okay, that makes more sense. Sorry, that was hilarious to me. Yeah, I love Ant-Man. It is so good. It's so fun. It's just interesting. It's just so different. Like, like this one is the government is being overthrown. Well, not the government. An agency is being overthrown, and World War II, and arms dealing, and war profiteering, and blah, 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 blah. But this one is like, we're just going to have some fun with Paul Rudd and Michael Douglas and Evangeline Lilly, who have fantastic chemistry. And Michael Pena is going to tell stories. It's great. Now we come to Age of Ultron. Now this one, I don't know how I feel about this movie. I think I like it. I like it better than The Incredible Hulk, but not as much as Thor. This is one I personally don't think it's bad. I mean, it's not great. It's not as good as the original Avengers, and not as good as Iron Man or Thor, but it's really good. There's elements of it that I enjoy. I love Hawkeye. I love getting to see his family. I love Hawkeye so much. I can't wait for his show. I just think there's so much about it that I think is great and fun and cool, and it's just great. Guardians of the Galaxy. This one is rivaling with Ant-Man that it made me laugh more than just about any other movie in the MCU. I love the witty, sarcastic dialogue, the quippiness, the whatever. So quotable. It's probably, I'm gonna say this, I think it's the most quotable movie in the MCU. Like, honestly. But it's really fun. I like it. I like it better than Thor, but not as much as Iron Man. Captain America Civil War. Yep. I I go back and forth which one I like better, Civil War or Winter Soldier. And I go back and forth, you guys. I go back and forth. It's so hard for me because I like both of them so much. But I think I like it just a little bit better than Winter Soldier. It's just really cool. It's so simple. But it's not simple at the same time because there's a level of like, what's going to happen? Oh my word. It's believable. Again, do you 100% believe that, stop it, go away, that different people could respond to the same information differently? Well, yeah, because it happens all the time. I mean, we have it's called Captain America Civil War, or Avengers 2.5, but I mean, don't we basically have, like, insert family name Civil War at a holiday or something like that? Because you hear the same information and you respond differently. Like, yeah, there should be X, Y, or Z for a COVID precaution. Yeah, there should be X, Y, or Z because of this. X, Y, Z, or Z because of that. And because of these things, I think that this is how it should be. Another person has exactly the same information as you, and they say, no, I disagree. Or, my opinion on Christian movies. Like, I mean, there's not a civil war going on in my house, but if I bring this up, if I bring up my opinions on Christian movies at Christmas time, there could be a civil war. It could get really bad, because they look at a movie, people in my family, or some of my friends, look at a movie and say, yeah, they share the gospel explicitly, they do these and these and these and these. This is a great movie. I look at it and I say, this is cheesy, this is unrealistic. This is actually a turnoff. It doesn't do its purpose because, why would non-Christians even want to watch this movie? So, I think it's such a believable concept, even though lower stakes for the average fight that families want, the Civil War, the quote-unquote Civil War that families might have, but it's believable. And that's what makes it so good. I think it's some of the best action as far as, smaller scale, but great. I love Peter Parker or Spider-Man and Ant-Man in this movie. Oh my goodness. It's so funny. It makes me laugh so hard. It's just like the silliness and the absurdity, the chatty fighting. Actually, it's kind of like... Sorry. That was kind of embarrassing. But it is basically like, but I mean, I don't know. It's just fun. I really like it. It's so good. Makes me laugh. And it makes me laugh, but also so serious. It's so fun. Doctor Strange, I have mixed feelings about. On the one hand, it's so cool. It's so fun. The visuals are beautiful. And Benedict Cumberbatch, how you say his name, is really good. But it's just not, it's meh. I don't care about it. I don't love it and I don't hate it. I don't know. I don't know what to say about Spider-Man Homecoming. Yeah, this is great. It goes into the, where can I put you in the good category or great? I don't like you as much as Guardians of the Galaxy, but I like you better than all of these movies. It's great. It's great. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I have not seen it because I've heard it's bad. So I'm just going to put it down into the worst category because there's a reason why I haven't watched it. because literally most people I've talked to said, yeah, it's terrible. Thor Ragnarok. Oh man, this one's hard. I think it goes into the great category. Well, no, you're not the best. Into the great category, not as good as Iron Man, but it is really good. I love the casting in this movie. That's one thing I should have said about Doctor Strange. Tilda Swinton's great. I love Tilda Swinton. She doesn't come as a surprise. And this is another one. I saw a meme. This makes me laugh. I've seen multiple memes about this. Like, boy, Marvel has great casting. I wonder how they do. And they're like, they just copy Lord of the Rings. Or when elves go bad, they go Marvel villain bad, because so many of the elves, well, like, yeah, the elves have played like a Marvel villain, because like Hugo Weaving has played, Kate Blanchett, Thranduil in Hobbit. Is that the only three? Because Orlando Bloom is the only other elf, that prominent elf, and he's not in it. He's not in the MCU. Oh, gosh. Goodness. Can you imagine? Orlando Bloom in the MCU. I would either hate it or love it. There'd be no in between, because I love that boy. I love that act, man. But I don't know if I can match him. Anyway, but yeah, basically, it's hilarious. Because there's like several actors that have been in both, which I think is great. I guess they're just really good actors. Anyway, yeah, so I do like that. I love, this is the best Thor ever. The best, probably not the best Loki, because the best Loki is his show. Hands down, his show is amazing. It's so good. I love it so much. It's great. It's just enjoyable. It's funny. Could do with some more drama, but it's still really good. Again, not my favorite at all. I mean, look at all these movies that are ahead of it, but I do really like it. Black Panther. Black Panther is in the meh category. I know this is unpopular opinion, but I just don't like it as much as I like a lot of these other movies. Now we come to one of the big kahunas. Avengers Infinity War. Oh man, this is hard. I like it better than the first Avenger. Do I like it better than Winter Soldier? Or not as much? No. Oh man. I don't like it as much as Winter Soldier. They're like right next to each other. For the record, they are like right next to each other. Like, it's not like a big gap. Like, there's a big gap between, like, actually, there's not a big gap between any of these movies. I like all of them pretty equally. But, you know, whatever. Now we come to Ant-Man and the Wasp. I'm going to put you in the great category. You are awesome. Because it's just fun. I love that movie again. Michael Douglas, Paul Rudd, Evangeline Lilly. It's so good. It's so good. Oh, and Judy Greer. Captain Marvel. Yeah, I don't like you. You're in the meh category. I don't hate you. I don't love you. Avengers Endgame. I like this one. Yeah, right there. It's right next to Infinity War. I like both of them so much. It is so good. I love it. I have rewatched it probably the most of the MCU movies. Well, no, I think I watched the Ant-Man movies more. Because I think I've seen them like 3 or 4 times in the last year. Then Spider-Man Far From Home. I have not seen it. So it's gonna go in the meh category because I feel like I'll like it better than these movies because I love Tom Holland so very, very much. So yeah, that is my ranking. As you can see, like, I think Marvel, for the most parts, movies are amazing. I mean, there are more films, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, than there's only like one more film in the meh and bad put together than there are just in the best category. So most of these films are incredible. I love them. I think they're wonderful. So yeah, that is my thoughts, and I will definitely be going to see the new Spider-Man movie in the theater. Well, I will probably be going to see it. I will be watching Hawkeye. Um, and yeah, if you guys like the MCU content, I'm more than happy to make some more. If you want me to go through, either do a tier ranking or just even just a talking about it, about Loki and the episodes and what makes my favorites and what worked and didn't work about each one and why I think it's such a cool show. Again, from what I guess I've said, makes sense. If you want me to do like, oh wow, Hawkeye, assuming I'm gonna like it, I can't do like early reviews like some people can because I don't have access to anything. But if you want me to talk through that, I would be happy to do that because this is fun and yeah, it's a fun hobby. So let me know, and yeah, and also let me know in the comments what is your favorite MCU family movie. What is the worst MCU movie in your opinion? How do you rank like the Captain America movie specifically? Because that's a very much like they're very close together. How do you rank the um, Avengers movies, especially these two up here? And do you think I am crazy for having Ant-Man this high up on my list, like above the Avengers movies? Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Okay, bye guys.